The individuals in this world that have opted to bring love and compassion and goodness into the world are being accelerated in their own transformational process. I want to talk a little bit more about what is happening in the world right now, and for people who are working towards healing and becoming healers. I have in the last weeks given you some ideas about this accelerated time, and I want to go over it again tonight to give you some information and guidance and clarity around what is happening. So this acceleration started in April. It really started at the beginning of the year, but it kind of came into third dimensional manifestation in April, May. This path of acceleration is continuing. And what I mean by that, very concretely, is that because of what is happening to humanity, because of the incredible amount of negativity and greed and darkness that is rampant in the world, manifesting in different ways, the individuals in this world that have opted to bring love and compassion and goodness into the world are being accelerated in their own transformational process. So concretely, that means that each of you may be given the opportunity, or you've gone through something, or you are going through something now that is a transformational experience that is being given to you before your time. So we all have a certain process. Being on a spiritual path speeds that process up anyway. We're already getting this boost of energy to move through our paths faster. But even at the point where we choose an intentional spiritual path, we have a speed set up that our psyche, nervous system, and physical body can handle. In that, there are some very specific things happening broadly, widespread, that I want to share with you and see if you can relate to what I'm talking about. One of the first things that I want to talk about is your childhood wounds or patterns, things that you feel like you have certain behaviors or habits that you think you've healed, you think you've healed a good portion of, or certain chunks of, but then during this time, you will suddenly feel things that you haven't felt since childhood, or let's say your 20s. Now, what's happening is you are not going backwards. Something bad is not happening to you. In fact, what is happening is that either there is kind of the framework, the energetic architecture or framework for whatever that behavior is, whatever those emotional experiences are. And that is now lifting up out of you, purging to move on and free you up to be freer than ever from those patterns. Or another way to look at it is that if there is any, emotional wounding in that same pattern that is kind of stuck in different areas of your consciousness or your physical body or your energetic body, again, that is being now pulled up and purged. And again, as this happens, we repeat feeling things as if we're going through those same experiences, when truly, more truthfully, we are releasing those things. It's very important to be able to understand what's happening and not get stuck in going down a road of thinking something is wrong with you versus thinking something is right. And I'm going to come back to this and explain a little bit more about the outcome. One of the second things that is happening for some people is they're having physical, odd or sudden physical ailments. Again, if there are areas inside of you where you feel really stuck, you feel like, my gosh, I've worked on this for so long. And some of you may even say, yes, I know where I want to go. I know I want to be loving. I know I want to be compassionate, benevolent, non-judgmental. I know I want to not have walls with connecting with people, but I can still see these trigger points inside of me. And then some of you aren't even there yet, and you say, okay, yeah, I have these trigger points, but the truth is that person or that circumstance was negative, and I feel like being resentful or vindictive or angry is the best approach. Or you feel that you're in a place where you just get triggered, you get drawn into an emotional reaction, you can't control it, and it's hard to see where the next step would be in order to reach healing. So these trigger points that are inside of us, some of you are receiving a massive, again, removal, almost like an energetic surgery, where something is happening, you're experiencing some physical ailment that may be diagnosable and may not be. And this ailment is purging some very, very stuck part of you. Imagine even right now feeling inside of you, in your energetic body and your mental body, emotional body, where are these hard edges? Hard edges are places where you feel you can't go past. A hard edge might include simple things like feeling, because of your own lack of self-worth or your own negative self-judgment, you feel you can't do something. Or imagine that a hard edge feels like, I feel I want my heart to open and I want to love, but right here, this particular person or this particular type of situation angers me to no end, and I can't get out of it. I can't move my consciousness past it. Do you see how the hard edges trap us? It's intense. Now, let's move on to the random physical occurrences that are happening. And let's also establish that while we're going through what we're going through, let's even call these things unexpected, negative happenings. So maybe this is even going to include having car trouble, sudden car trouble, or, having a neighbor move in next door that is annoying you, or it could be one of the physical things that I'm talking about. This time on your path, more than ever before, you want to orient yourself and your perspective in a way that is positive and connected to your transformation on your path. And do you see how important this is? I want to be able to say that if I'm experiencing something that's very intense, that something is releasing. And there are layers of experiences that I can take in and elevate myself with. I can use this experience to build my compassion for others, to remind myself that a gratitude practice is so important, because while I might be concerned or complaining or angry about what I'm experiencing, and honestly, all those things are okay if they don't stop us from our progress, but I also want to remember how much worse others have it on the planet right now. And I want to remind myself that it could be worse. I could be experiencing something worse. And I want to be grateful for every moment that I have, and grateful for the grace that the divine has given me. I want to look about my life and imagine that the power of gratitude is the power of receptivity, is the power of open-heartedness, is the power of love. And so everything that's happening, we want to take and imagine and see that it's for our benefit. That every time our consciousness experiences something new, even if it's negative, it's being freed from a limitation that we may not have even been aware of. That we're releasing some negativity or energetic poison that maybe we didn't even know we were carrying. And that through this process of learning and growing and becoming more compassionate, we are also expanding our awareness, creating more flexibility, creating more understanding, and essentially moving into more freedom. Now, one of the next things that's happening, and these are really the three main things that I want to share, is dreaming. Many people are having extreme dreams, vivid dreams, maybe even scary dreams. Now, this experience we can look at in different ways. Have you ever had an experience where you were reading a book, and as you were reading that book, you felt like little lights and triggers of awareness were opening up, and your mind was opening in ways that you feel like you were kind of opening to a consciousness of awareness that you always knew, but didn't have access to? So some of the dreams that we're having now that are meant to accelerate the process that we're in are like those books, like almost a code that is being given to us to experience this expansion in consciousness so that we have access to more information about ourselves, humanity, and the reality that we are currently living in. Next, we can look at these dreams as a way of kind of releasing or burning negative karma that has been building in us and constantly builds in us, quite frankly, as long as we're here and moving and interacting with people, unless we're doing so consistently with the highest level of awareness and love. We're kind of collecting these energies that have to be released. And so if we are getting this opportunity for an accelerated transformation, then life and the divine is bringing ways for us to do that in a way that is non-harmful to us, that will not block us from growing or from connecting with people in a positive way. But the experiences are still being received impactfully in our consciousness as a release of some kind of karmic debt. Now, another reason why these dreams are happening is for us to release again some childhood patterning and emotional pain. A lot of the dreams that people are having right now are childhood related, whether that's attached to parents, siblings, experiences that we had as children, friends, acquaintances, school, variety of areas. And imagine there are still things that we need to unwind, but we don't have time, let's say, to do years and years of counseling or therapy. So life is giving us different avenues where we can experience healing and understanding, and again, a closure of something, so that we can move forward in our full strength And also, so we're getting unblocked from our healing gifts. Because imagine that each of you are being called. Because you're here, that means that you're answering that call. And as you move forward, in order for you to reach the humanity, the sections of humanity that are waiting for you, your walls, your limitations that are stopping you from becoming the powerful healer that you are in full, these now need to be removed. So if you have some sort of inhibition about getting out into the world in some way, talking to people, relating, connecting, even if you don't do that, but you want to send prayers and good energy to people, but you feel too overwhelmed and your mind is telling you that you're not good enough, that you don't know enough, that you are too in crisis yourself, then I am here to tell you that everything that is happening right now, and even if nothing is happening to you right now that's unusual, your time has come. The world needs you. And it doesn't matter what your negative voices are. It's time for you to move in to your role as a healer. And life is supporting you in many, many, many different ways. So what I would really like us to take with us from tonight's webcast is that there may be a lot of unusual things happening to you right now, and you may be having experiences that you would consider negative. It could be, as I talked about a few weeks ago, anxiety, depression, or something as intense as having some weird physical ailment, and everything in between. However, our job is to maintain a focus on our hearts, on our healing, on our connection to the divine, and on the fact that good things are happening to us so that we can be incredibly empowered to bring good things to the world. There are not enough healers that are active in the world as we know it. Please join. Please don't let anything stop you. Let's move towards really bringing something warm to the world. I want us to look at two different practices. One practice, I want us to, instead of thinking about opening our hearts, instead of thinking about sending love into the world and loving, I want us to think instead about warmth, about comfort, about that sense of, bringing something really, really wonderfully warm and safe into the world, into those around us. But we don't even have to be talking to them. Imagine that Okay, you're even going to the grocery store. You don't need to have a conversation with everyone, but just as you're there, emanate a soft warmth. Even if you're at home by yourself, just sense that warmth inside of yourself and that comfort and that sense of safety. The other practice that I want us to do this week is what I talked about earlier, which is kind of feeling the hard edges inside of us. That we can do just a couple of minutes a day, 2 or 3 minutes. It can be connected to a dream we had, something we experienced, an emotional trigger, or we can just do the practice once a day and feel our awareness, see how far we can extend our consciousness into our energetic body, and test and feel if we can understand where there's any hard edges, any places where we're holding on to resentments, where we're triggered, where we have some negative judgment stopping us from connecting positively with others. And let's see if we can send some of that warm, melting energy to those hard edges and see if we can push past them even just a little bit. Even just an iota will make a difference. Imagine that we are all vessels for divine love and light. If those hard edges are squeezing us, then the divine love and light that we can share is choppy and limited and also diffused somewhat. But imagine if we become expansive and we release those hard edges and open up our energy, then nothing can stop us from projecting and sending all of our love and light into the world to access transformation, our own, and offering that to others and offering it to humanity. It's time. I love you. I'm here supporting you, praying for you, sending you all my love every moment.